Hey. Test one, two, test one, two. Test one, two. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. It's another live episode, live conversations, convos in the park. What's going on? What's going on? Get these glasses back on. I can't see the comments. All right. If you're catching this on YouTube when it posts later, just want to get some stuff out the way. Just go ahead and search for the Convos in the Park page. Don't particularly have the type to customize it right now. Still trying to get to 100 subscribers, but once we do, I'll be able to customize it and make it easier for everyone to find. In the meantime, just search up Convos in the Park, click that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so then that way, as new stuff comes, especially when I start with the new video content besides just a lot of conversations, everyone will be able to catch up and be notified for when new content comes out. All right, we got somebody on. Veronica, nice to have you. Nice to have you. How you doing? All right, just gonna do the particulars, wait for some people to get in here, wait for some more people to get in here. Glad that you could join us. Glad that you can join us, Veronica. Thank you for showing up. Jonathan, what's going on, bro? Glad you could make it. Glad you could make it. How's your day been? Oh, as for me, just living the dream, bro. Just living the dream. Just trying to make it through every single day and continue to push this dream. Continue to push this dream of Convos in the Park. Long day? Yeah, I feel you, bro. Had a long day myself as well. Had a long day myself as well. But as with anything, if you want to strive to be your best and continue to do what's best for your family, then yeah, you got to push through those long days. I feel you. Dream is already a reality. Yes. All right, we're going to give it a couple more minutes here just to see if we can get some more people in to join the conversation. Ooh. But again, for those that will catch this on YouTube, I just want to say, please click that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit the notification bell, so as new videos pop up as well as live conversations, you'll be able to watch it on YouTube. And once my video content comes up, then be able to catch it there and catch all the new and latest material from Convos in the Park. Give about another 25 seconds and I'll go ahead and get started with what we got. Don't want to hold up anyone's time that's already here. And again, I appreciate the ones that are in now and those that show up later. I appreciate everything and all the support that I've been receiving. Oh, to go live on YouTube? Oh, it's actually not that hard, bro. It's not that hard. If you got, like for my setup here, I got my desktop here and I got my webcam going. And as long as you have your page on YouTube, you hit the little camera in the top right corner and you'll be able to go live and you'll be able to set up everything prior to going live. Same as on Facebook. And pretty simple process. But, you know, if you still running into issues with that, you know, you could just DM me and let me know, and you know, I'll help you out with that. All right, we'll give it about 20 more seconds. Harold, what's going on, bro? Glad you could make it, man. Glad you could make it. How's your day been? All right, we'll just go ahead and get this thing started. All right, so came up with this idea for sacrifices in relationships because a lot of people, you know, they go into relationships and sometimes you're not really expecting that you have to, you know, give up certain things, you know, in order for a relationship to work, whether that be, you know, time, you know, you may have had a long day at work and then you come home and, you know, you realize that you got to give some time to your significant other, you know, even on those days where you don't really feel like it, you know, stress from work or stress from, you know, other things could get in the way, or not even that. It comes with other things as well. I mean, you have, you know, personalities that have to come together for a relationship to work. And for that to be good, you know, sometimes you may have to give up something. And sometimes it could even be a hobby. You know, you could have someone that, you know, is into sports a lot. So, you know, they want to watch games, they want to watch the basketball game, they want to watch football on TV, and not really realizing that their significant other, you know, wants some time as well. And that can be a play. But I want to get y'all guys' opinions. You know, what are some things that you feel that sometimes you may have to sacrifice in order for a relationship to work? You know, whether it be something physical, something like a pastime, or, sometimes even your own dreams you have to put to the side. And one thing that goes for a lot of relationships, especially in marriage, is kids. Sometimes you have to be able to separate that time between not only yourself, but now you have to worry about yourself, your significant other, your children, because your children definitely gonna want time with you. And that can definitely play a part in a relationship, because if you focus on one other thing too much besides your significant other, then there can be problems in that. So let's hear what y'all got to say. Harold, you waiting on the snow so you could call off. Hey man, the snow. They're talking about snow here in Mississippi too, but my daughter's already off for school in preparation of it. But with my job, rain, sleet, or snow, pretty much, unless it's real heavy, I got to continue to work. But let's get this thing going. Let's get this thing going. What do you feel that are some things that you may have to sacrifice in order for a relationship to work? Hal says you have to somewhat give up going out with the homies. I wouldn't say you have to completely give it up. Again, a lot of that comes with balance. Yeah, a lot of that comes with balance. You have to be able to, you know, spend some time with your friends, because you got to have that other source, for things to go. And especially, it's good to have that input from outside people. Sometimes your homies can be your best advice. Sometimes your homies can be your worst advice. Had to cut down on my video game time. Oh, bro, I can attest to that. Before I got into relationships heavy, yeah, I was always either on my PlayStation, on my Xbox, or on my computer once I got into computer gaming. And being able to just give that time away, because that allowed me to detach myself from anything I went through from the day. If work was stressful, then yes, I ran quickly to the game as soon as I got home, just to relax myself, just to, get the thoughts of that day out of my system. And it can be its own addiction at times. I love video games. I love electronics, but at the end of the day, you have to be able to share some of that time with your significant other. But even other sacrifices that can go in a relationship, sometimes you may have to give up family. And what I mean by that is family can have a big part in a relationship, because at the end of the day, family will always ride for you. They'll always be the one, to take your side, unless you have those individuals that like your significant other and they want to see things go well. So, and plus they know you, so they kind of look at both sides of that, of maybe whatever particular drama's going on at that time. And sometimes you have family just as much as friends that can be very, very, very toxic to a relationship, because they feel like they have somewhat of a say in what's going on in the relationship. And that's only, well, I won't say, it depends on how much they know and how much you are willing to let them in on a relationship. Sometimes you have to be able to put that barrier up, like, okay, I understand that you like both of us and everything else, and you feel you have your part in certain matters, but at the end of the day, what goes on between you and your significant other, that has to stay between y'all. And if it goes out to the family, that can be a detriment to a relationship. Nikki Moore, what's going on? Glad you could join me. Glad you could join us for this conversation. Not all, Jonathan says, not all families. Some family aren't happy and they don't want to see you happy. That is true. But at the same time, it depends on the family members sometimes. You have a lot of family members that, are very, very supportive, some that are over supportive, some that can be over under supportive. They just whatever drama and whatever situations that they have going on in their life, they like to project it on the others so that way they can feel better about what's going on in their lives. And it can be a detriment, but hopefully you have some good family members that, you know, are there to support you and not be so much of a hinderment to what's going on in a relationship. Nikki, since you joined us, what do you think are some sacrifices that you have to make in a relationship in order to make things work with a significant other? Tony Johnson, what's going on, bro? Glad you could make it. Sitting here talking about the sacrifices. Jonathan said I had to give up a friendship for my relationship. That is always the hardest thing. That is always the hardest thing because you have your friendships and the friendships have been there in most cases way before you get into a relationship. And sometimes you have that energy from your significant other for, let's say, for a man, you know, they may have that one real close female friend that they have and been around for the longest time. But as soon as the girlfriend comes into the picture and she feels that maybe the friend, the close friend that you have that, you know, could have been nothing going on, y'all know, y'all just real close and real platonic. And, you know, that they can feel that that might be, you know, something that may cause problems later on and feel like it may be a detriment because some women feel like that they are the only ones that can be in their man's lives, and that is definitely stemming from deeper issues before you and, you know, before y'all got together. Nikki says controlling your mouth. Controlling the mouth. I mean, a lot of men like some feisty women. There's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, at times, it's good to have a filter. It's good to have a filter. But you got to be able to, you know, be able to find that point with your, you know, significant other to find that balance. Because I will be the first to admit that I have a smart mouth at times, and at times it can get me in trouble. But that was more so I developed that because of the way, you know, I was brought up and the way that I handle situations. I was, you know, I was always the kind of person that was never really confrontational. So my best way to deter myself from getting into arguments or confrontational situations where I just was pretty much, I was a smart ass. I found some smart comment to say to kind of make people back off or something like that. Some family and friends, Nikki says, some family and friends have to take a back seat. That is true. Yeah, you have to be able to set that priority from the jump, especially, you know, when you have your friends, you know, because again, you had your friends longer than you had your relationship, and they feel like, you know, they can take the priority in that because, you know, they've been around longer. But at the same time, they also have to respect the fact that, you know, you have someone else that you're seeing, someone that you're trying to get closer to, someone that you can have a future with. And if they don't see themselves in that picture, then they start to feel, honestly, jealousy. And that's never a good combination because the jealousy and anything else is forced and side inputs that sometimes that they have to take can cause problems. Mikey G, what's going on, bro? Glad you could make it, man. Glad that you could make it. More people showing up. I appreciate it. Sitting here talking about sacrifices in relationships, the kind of things that you have to sacrifice in order to make a good relationship work. Let's see. Veronica says she doesn't do filters. I know you don't do filters, Veronica, but that can also be a good thing too. That can also be a good thing. It's good for the friends to have it, and sometimes it's good for your significant other to have it because sometimes you just need that that dose of reality because sometimes you get so much caught up in your own world that you forget some other things, and it's good to have someone that doesn't have a filter to kind of bring you back into reality of the situation, especially if there's issues or problems going on. You definitely need that dose of reality to get back on track. Let's see. Nikki says, I've been backseated before, but I accepted it out of respect for my friend. Sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes it hurts. Sometimes it hurts. I've also been backseated for relationships as well. But at the end of the day, I had to understand my position in the matter because, I may have my input and I may have my way on how I feel about the person. Sometimes the person that they're with may not be the right thing for them. Sometimes, you can see something that they may not be seeing because they're love struck or just so focused on relationships that they're not seeing the outer layers. So I can see that. But yes, at the end, Veronica says she's been there before, but you have to respect the relationship. Yeah, that is true. That is true. You have to respect the relationship, whether it be good or bad. You just have to be there to continue to support them and be the good friend that they need sometimes, especially when it comes to a bad situation, especially when it comes to a relationship ending and they have to have someone there to, fall back on. I don't even say fall back on, but someone there to support them in, getting past the ending point of that relationship, because sometimes things can go the wrong way and they always have to have that kind of counterbalance so that way they can get back on track and continue to not only live their lives, but hopefully find someone that is better for them. Lex, what's going on? Glad you could make it, sis. I know you missed the first one, but I'm glad you could make it for this one. Being backseated, Jonathan says, being backseated is one thing, but I had female friends disown me. Wow. Yeah, that's always the toughest point when it comes to friendships and relationships, is being able to put that, be able to continue that friendship, but you also have to know, if you have a good friend, if you have a real good friend and they're there to support you, then they should be able to just fall back a bit. But if they completely disown you over a situation or over a relationship, then that kind of tests the trust in the friendship. That tests the friendship deeply, and things can definitely go sour. You may lose that person altogether. But then, then you say, but then they remember when they're single again. Yeah, I mean, and it comes to a point where you have to realize in that friendship where things lie. And if they fall back from you when you're in the relationship, but then again, they come back, oh, like everything's cool as soon as the relationship's over, then it's like, what's the point? Why couldn't you just be there for me the entire time? Why did you have to disown me to focus on your relationship? And sometimes it can be where they have to be able to deal with the fact that, they have to find that balance. Like I said, she had to show support. Well, I greatly appreciate it. Nikki says she's a good friend and she backseated herself for me. Wow, we take a jazz right now. But yeah, I had to. I mean, I can wholeheartedly admit that I had to deal with some situations on my own, and I didn't deal with them the best way that I think I could, looking back at it. But as they always say, hindsight is 20/20, and I could have handled things a lot better. And at the end of the day, you don't want to lose friendships over relationship, but at the same time, you have to be able to find a balance to make everything work. And if your friends are willing to help you get that balance, then that's even better. If they can't, then it could be something else going on, and it might be time for a sit-down situation between friends just to figure out what's going on. But what are some other things that some people feel like they have to sacrifice? We've already touched on hobbies. We touched on video games. We touched on friends. What other things we feel that can be sacrifices that you have to make for a relationship? One big thing that I've always noticed is sometimes it can be distance. If someone gets, let's just say, for example, you have a friend or your significant other has a good opportunity someplace else, And in order for that to happen, you can't move with them, around the same time, but you're willing to let them go, because you don't want to keep them stagnant, trying to be close to you, but, you let them go so they can follow their dreams, excuse me, follow their dreams and, make life better for themselves. But are you willing to let that distance come into play? Who else we got joining? Darius, what's going on, bro? What's going on, hero? Glad you could join the conversation. We're talking about sacrifices in relationships. But again, what about distance? Or not even distance. Let's take it a step further. Let's go into, are you willing to even move with your significant other to a completely different place? Because, wherever y'all met, that's pretty much home to you. You have your family members there, you have friends that you develop there, you have work relationships that you develop where you're at. And now all of a sudden, to make the relationship work and to make the relationship grow, you have to part yourself away from those in order to go with that significant other. Are we even willing to do that in order to make the relationship grow? And even with that, I mean, you have to pretty much know at that point whether or not you see it as someone that you're going to be with for a long time, and hopefully, nothing bad happens once you get to that other destination, to where now you're just stuck in a new city by yourself because things went sour with who you were dealing with. Veronica says, oneself sometimes. You get so wrapped up in a person that you forget and neglect yourself. That is a major downfall, Veronica. I can agree with that. Sometimes you get wrapped up in yourself and you get wrapped up in everything that you got going on that you don't even take into account, how your significant other is feeling or other things. And, you forget to not only take care of yourself, because at the end of the day, you got to have your own happiness in order to make anything to work. If you're not happy with yourself, all you're doing is you're bringing more drama into your life that you don't need, because you're going to get into arguments and you're going to have all this negative stuff circled around the relationship. And that's never a good thing, because all that negativity will eventually blow up, and it can either cause, either for the relationship to end, or in the most extreme cases, it can end up very, very worse. Lex says, I think it depends on how serious the relationship is. You shouldn't just jump and move for someone else. That is true. That is true. You have to make sure that that person is going to be the person that you're going to be down for before you jump and move to a different place. Because again, like I said, you can get to that place, and the next thing you know, within a couple months after being there, now because you don't like the environment, but the person, your significant other is thriving in it, and they're not playing their part so much to help you, get comfortable in that spot, that now you not only have that drama from, what you're dealing with. Now it's more arguments because, oh, you're not adapting. You're not trying to make everything work. And you see what I'm trying to do here, but you're just not being supportive enough. And now the relationship ends, and next thing you know, now again, like I said, you're now in a foreign city, and especially if y'all live together and you wasn't making as much money as you were, in your home spot. Now you're struggling to get yourself back on your own feet, just to either make enough money to survive there on your own, or just to get enough money to where you can comfortably move back home, where you were comfortable at. And that can be a pretty big toll too. What else we got? What other sacrifices do we think that we feel we have to make in order for a relationship to work? Besides just friends and distance. Ooh, that would be the worst. And have a child in a different environment. Oh, whoo. Yeah, because now now you're adding a child into play, and now you have to be able to balance yourself, and now you bringing the child into something, and if you're even in a different city or you end up having to go back home and now the child's not seeing you as much because you're not around, now you have to figure out between that person, when can you see the child, when can you have the child for a certain amount of time. Yeah, that is something serious. Would you sacrifice your religious practices? There's a good point. There is a very good point. That is something that a lot of people don't really think about. And that is a good point because you may have different religious practices than the person that you're dealing with. You may be an avid churchgoer and the person that you're dealing with is not. Will you be able to, quote unquote, bring them into the fold and have them come, even worship with you? That's a very big thing. And, you have those cases where you got some people that are highly religious and, now you found out or that this person could be an atheist or something else, or you could be a Christian, they could be a Muslim. Now you have two different religious paths that kind of meet, and you're trying to figure out, okay, how are we going to make this work? Because my belief and your beliefs as far as religion goes are totally different. Will you be able to make that balance? A lot of people usually say, if usually go for the same religious type in a relationship just to make that easy. That's one less, thing that you have to worry about. Nikki says, no, sir, Jonathan. Come on now. You might find you never know. You could find somebody that can give you a different output. And a good thing to look on the positive side on that, you might be able to learn a couple of different things about a different religion. Might see things, might have your whole worldview change. That's one side to it. That is definitely one side to it. You can probably have a different world outlook on different things, and that could bring some enjoyment to a relationship. But usually how it goes, that once religion comes into play in anything, it never turns out good. Never turns out good. But Nikki, expound on that. Why do you feel that you wouldn't sacrifice your religious practices for someone else? Oh, I see we dropped some people, but it's okay. As long as we're gonna keep this conversation going. We're gonna keep this conversation going. But religion, that is very deep. That is something most people don't want to play around. Now, another thing, I'm sitting here thinking about it. One thing that can be a sacrifice is not only you have to deal with your family sometimes, but dealing with the family of the significant other, because their family roles and family traits and family ideas can be totally different from the way that you was raised in your family, and that can definitely raise some conflict. Your family might be completely drug free, alcohol free, completely religious, and your significant other's family are just a mess. Every time you hear them talk, it's always some drama. They always arguing about something. That can definitely play a toll on a relationship, because now it's two different family standards that are coming into effect and trying to come as one. You may have some dealings with the other family members that you completely don't like. You just don't want them to be around, especially if y'all live together and they come visit. Now it's like, oh, now I got to distance myself, because if I see this person, oh, it's going to be on site, and that can never be good. But what else we got? What else we got? would you even let work get in the way in a relationship? Because we have some people that are grinders, and hey, salute the hustle. Everyone, you got to get that paper at the end of the day, but at some time, you got to be able to take that break. Jonathan says, would you sacrifice the support of your culture over interracial dating? Now that is very interesting because you may find someone, that of another race that you are dating, and now you have cultural issues that come into play, and then, in New York, I grew up in New York, so I know that is definitely something major. I've seen blacks and Dominicans, blacks and Puerto Ricans, Puerto Ricans and Asians, blacks and whites, of course. That definitely plays a factor because now it's pretty much a completely different culture coming around, and there's always that stigma of, oh, if the dude is black and he gets with a white woman, oh, he's not strong enough to deal with a sister, so he went to get a white girl, or or the brother went to find somebody else because they're more submissive than a black woman, and that is a very big stigma, and that can definitely cause some issues in a relationship. But if you're willing to make things work, I think you can find a balance, and I think you can sacrifice, the negativity from others, as long as you know that what you have with the other person is good. Now, if you're just doing it because or to spite certain things, or just to spite other people, then you're in the relationship for the wrong purpose in the first place, and it's not gonna work. Not gonna work, period. But even now, I wouldn't even say culture. We could take this, we could take this a little deeper. What about if, and well, I can't say I'm an expert on this, but something I've always thought about is for the LGBTQ community, they have to deal with, a lot of sacrifices. I would have to imagine, because not only, they may have to deal with the issues that they have in their own family, they may not have came out, to their family on everything, but now you're dealing with the other person's family, and it may be both, y'all both found they might have found closeness in each other because, they've been the standouts, and, they have to deal with, the way that they are. And that has to, I'm pretty sure that has to play a major part. Let's see what we got here. Friends and family will turn their backs on you because you dated outside your race. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Especially and that there a lot of cultures is like that. You'll definitely see, especially black people, black families, you'll see them turn on someone because they're dating someone outside of their race, or or even the extremists, that think that you're tainting the bloodline if you're dating someone else and you may happen to have a child by them. Now they completely cast you aside because they feel wholeheartedly that you're ruining the race by dating outside of your culture, when you would think that we would be past that. But after thinking about it, we're only maybe 50 years past segregation, 50 plus years past segregation. So that's still a sore topic for some people, especially those that grew up in that time where that's all that they knew was whites went with whites, blacks went with blacks. You never went outside of your race for anything. And that definitely can play a large toll on a relationship, because now you're sacrificing your family, and they think that you're sacrificing the culture just for the person that you have feelings for. And friends, again, you have to really judge the level of friendship if they can't get past the fact that you're dating outside of your race, because they're dealing with their own issues. And a lot of that in these days and times, you don't need that kind of negativity at all. You don't need that kind of negativity in anything. I try to keep my life as positive as I can. Any negative stuff, yeah, I witness it, I see it, and I try to rationalize it. But sometimes, for some things, you can't rationalize, especially when it comes to something like that. Any other sacrifices that I'm not mentioning that you come up with that can cause problems in a relationship? Because I think I kind of touched on the majority of the major ones that we know about. We touched on culture, we touched on race, we touched on hobbies, we touched on friendships, we touched on a lot of things. Now, are you able to lose and sacrifice your dreams in order for a relationship to work? Is the relationship that strong to where you have your dreams and certain things that you may want to do, but because your significant other doesn't feel the same way about your dreams, that you have to kind of put them aside because the love that you have for them is so strong that you're willing to just put your dreams aside? Now, is that something that you can come to terms with and deal with? Will you be able to put those lifelong dreams aside? And even those dreams could possibly make the relationship better, that you follow them. It could make everything grow, but you won't never know because you had to put them to the side in order for your significant other to feel more comfortable. Veronica says intimacy. Intimacy can be a sacrifice because a major point of a relationship is to be intimate. And if the other person's not feeling the same, then there's definitely bigger issues there. That can go several ways. It can go to the point where you may feel like they're getting intimacy from someplace else because they're not getting it from you. Or, it could come to self-esteem issues to where you feel like, okay, well, at first, everything was cool. We were intimate. We were real close. But now it's gotten to the point where they no longer want to touch me. They don't see me in the same light. You start to think, is there something wrong with yourself? Because now that significant other is not intimate with you. Yeah, that could definitely play a big role. Jonathan said, would you give up meat if your partner went vegan? I love me some steak. I ain't gonna be honest. I'll be completely honest. I love me some steak. I love seafood. I love stuff like that. So for me to completely give up meat, if my partner was vegan, not to say that I wouldn't try it, I definitely would give it an opportunity. Now, could I go into it wholeheartedly as my significant other? Only time could tell. But at the same token, we got to be able to respect each other. You can't just, down your significant other because they decide to eat meat, and you can't down the other one because they don't eat meat. You got to be able to come to a balance. Maybe, you could find something to where, okay, I'm not going to give it up cold turkey, but let's say, okay, I'll go a week without eating some meat. And then maybe on that seventh day or that, the week after, I get back to I get back to eating my red meat, white meat and all the other stuff pretty hard, get back to your chicken and your steak and your pork chops and all that. Jonathan, you're not giving up on your dreams. Amen to that, bro. Amen to that. I can't see myself giving up on my dreams for almost anything nowadays. I used to put a lot of stuff to the side to make certain things work. But at the end of the day, you got to be comfortable in yourself. And if your significant other can't be comfortable with you as yourself, if you have some room to grow, then that's one thing. But like, if you are doing everything you're supposed to do in a relationship and you feel like, at this point, you feel like you've done everything you can in a relationship, but at this moment, you just want to pursue your dreams and your significant other is not down with that, might be some deeper issues you might need to, talk out and come to a compromise on. Lex says, when it comes to dreams, I don't think you should give up on them, but be realistic about it depending on what the dream is. For example, if you're 50 and dropping a mixtape, stop it. True. I mean, at some point, you do have to face the reality with the dreams that you have, because some dreams, as much as you may think, some dreams can be far-fetched, and you have to be able to just, come to reality on it. You want to say hi, Amani? Come on and say hi. Stop being silly. But yeah, I can agree with that. If you haven't gotten to a point where your dreams haven't become somewhat attainable, it might be time to readjust and refocus your efforts on something that could be more attainable. Now, if your significant other can help you attain those goals, then that's something, that's a dream that y'all can build together. And that is, I mean, that would be the biggest dream. Like, but at the end of the day, like I said, some things have to come to a realization point to where certain things just have to play out. But yes, I agree with everyone. You should not have to sacrifice your dreams in order for a relationship to work. What other things am I missing, y'all? What other things am I missing? My daughter wants to show off the my custom Convos in the Park hoodie. What else we got, people? What else we got, people? What other things do we feel that we sacrifice in order for a relationship to work? What if they can help? Johnson says, what if they can help you attain your goals but refuse to? Well, if they can help you attain your goals, but for some reason they refuse to, it's got to be, me personally, I think it's got to be something deeper that's going on. There's got to be a reason why. Maybe they feel like at the end of the day, once you attain those dreams, that you're going to let them go. And, they put all that time, work, and effort into helping you reach your goals. And now you just throw them to the wayside because your dreams have been attained and bigger opportunities are out there. And now you feel like, you just left them by the wayside, and that can be somewhat spiteful. Or it could just be where they just don't, they can help you attain your dream, but again, they may not want that to be, they want you to be able to focus on them. And then maybe they just might be selfish, honestly. Speaking of selfishness, what about pride? Pride. Can we let go of pride in a relationship? Can we sacrifice our own pride to make things work? Because pride can be a very strong thing. It can help you get through a lot of things in life, but it can also be a detriment. You have to be able to depend on other people, especially and especially in a relationship. You should feel like you should be able to depend on your significant other. And if you have too much pride to even let them try to help you, then yes, that can be a big detriment to a relationship. That can be a major detriment to a relationship. Pride, selfishness, egotism, big thing, narcissism. I think selfishness plays a big part in a relationship. And sometimes I think selfishness has to be put to the side, because if you're in a relationship and your significant other feels like that all you do is focus on yourself, and all their efforts should be focused on you, you solely and you're not, you know, reciprocating anything back to them, then yeah, that can, I mean, that's pretty much an unhealthy relationship, and you need to find your exit strategy out of there ASAP. But what else? What else we got, people? What else we got, people? Alon, Cuzzo, what's going on? Thank you for joining the conversation. Glad you could make it. Sitting here talking about sacrifices in relationships here. We're talking about many different things that we have to put aside in order for our relationship to work. We touched on many things such as giving up your hobbies, giving up family, giving up ideas, giving up religion. Almost, you know, we talked about giving up religion. We talked about, you know, being able to put away pride, put away your selfishness, put away egotism. You know, being able, you know, are you going to be able to sacrifice your dreams in order for a relationship to work? But what else we got, people? What else we got?